caring. As long as you've got a voice, don't ever stop.
Oh, that's right. Don't stop talking. Hey, it's Ann Eller right here with you on WCRS Radio. Oh, that's right. It's me. I did everything right except push the right button here. At least I'm dressed here this morning. Hey, folks, I'm dressed and ready to roll. Got a lot to talk about. Hope you're doing well. It is a beautiful day out there, and I got to start out. This morning I'm going to start out with my penny story that I didn't get to yesterday. Day before, that would have been Sunday evening. Penny and I were out walking the field. It was, I don't know, around 7-ish, somewhere around in there. Still light, but starting to. Maybe it was 7:30. So we went for our walk. We went down to the lower field, and as we came around the bend, there were 3 deer standing right there in the field. Well, at first, Penny was blasé, and I'm watching them, just waiting to see what she's going to do. She eventually looked up, or got a whiff of them, and she started saying, "Come on, let's go, let's go." So slowly we walked. I did not let her off the leash because if I had, I would have been in the woods after dark. And I just didn't think that was a good idea. So we walking over there and the deer are standing there looking at us. And so they go, guess we better get out of here. So they turned and walked away. And Penny, of course, "Come on, Mom, let's get over there. Let's get it. So we went over there and she sniffed all around and as my thing is, hauling her away, and we go on our walk, and it was just lovely out there. And I said, well, let's go around another time. Went around another time, and those deer were still came back out of the woods and were standing there. So this time, Penny's going, "Mom, you gotta let me at 'em. Let me at 'em." And I was like, no, now it's even darker. I'm not gonna let you at 'em. So the deer are standing there looking at us like, "Look at that little sissy dog, can't even run after us." And they were kind of taunting her. And Penny decided I was going with her. Now, Penny weighs maybe she's up to 20 pounds. The last time she got weighed, 17 pounds. She might be 20 pounds, but she's not any more than that. But man, I said I wanted a healthy dog, and boy, do I have a healthy dog. She starts going, "We're going, Mom. I gotta protect my rights here of this backyard." So here we go, and she's pulling me, and I can't seem to stop her. So both of us are now headed for the deer. And the deer just stand there and look at it and go, "Look at these fools walking at us. They think that they're going to do something." So here we are, Ann trying to put the brakes on it. Penny moving straight forward at such a clip. And, she's got a harness on. So she's like a dog, a husky in the Iditarod. She's pulling and she's going, "Come on, we can do it. We can take them. Finally, I think we get within like 10 feet of them. They go, they're not going to stop. I guess we better run into the woods. So into the woods they went. It still was kind of funny, though, just to see them taking off at little Penny there, just thinking she can take them. So we continued our walk, and we walked around, and she goes, "Maybe they're in the woods over here on this side. Maybe they're over here. I'm still looking for them." It was kind of fun. Anyway, she is quite a little hunter. I never realized that poodles, and I've said this before, were hunting dogs, but on further evaluation, yes, they are hunting dogs. And in fact, they're water hunting dogs that I did not realize that. So, which could explain maybe their hair, because they don't have fur, they actually have hair. So when she gets wet, it just dries off like hair. It's actually rather lovely. So, that's just a little bit about from the Penny Diaries right here on WCRS. Been trying to work out her seat to be able to be part of the show. So far, I haven't found anything that she will sit in longer than a few minutes to say, hello, and now I'm out of here. So we're working on that. When I first got Penny, she was just a puppy, a little baby puppy. She wouldn't dare move. Now she's like, I own this place, it's my roost, and I'll do what I want. Anyways, that's a little bit about Princess Penny, but making her debut here on WCRS very soon. Okay, so last night on City Council had a called meeting. They did go over a few things, and then they had a executive session to receive some legal advice. I don't know, when they came out, they did not discuss it. They just came out of executive session and then ended the meeting. So I can't tell you anything about what happened there because I don't know what happened. But I can tell you about a couple of things. One of the things that they are looking at that the county wants is to take that little section of Washington to Edgefield, that little section right there, and turn it into a parking lot right there where Park Plaza is going to be, I guess right across from the courthouse, if I'm understanding this correctly. They want to turn that into a parking lot. So this, of course, is something that's in the city's parlance, so they were asking about doing that. I think they had a first reading. Maybe it's a resolution, so I guess not. But SCDOT, there's a whole lot of wrangling, let's just put it that way. But it looks like that is what they're going to do, close that one block area and turn that into a parking lot. So that is something. Now the library, of course, is a little further down, and of course there are other roads that'll connect Edgefield, and so that is what they are thinking they'd like to do. And I actually, if you look at it, it makes a lot of sense. So, and having plenty of parking would really be kind of nice. Now, the road would still have, I guess, exits on either end to go into the parking lot, but it would be a parking lot, not an actual road. So that's one thing that is going on that they talked about at City Council. By the way, I might add tonight is County Council will be meeting. They'll be going into executive session at 4 o'clock. They hopefully will be out by 5:30 because that's when the meeting will start. So they have a very long executive session, I might add. And, according to them, they have a lot of business to talk about. A lot of stuff that is behind the curtain. But anyways, that will be going on this evening. But back to City Council. Then they had a discussion about going ahead and starting the PALS building for a visitor center. I think they're calling it something else. I guess I didn't write that down. But the idea is that while they really would not get their money till 2028 to do this project, they have enough money on hand in their fund balance that they could go ahead and start the project and then actually take a loan and be repaid by the capital sales tax project. I think they've got $125 million in their fund balance. They want to take from their A-tax fund $835,000 total. I believe this is correct. The project is a $1.25 million project. So they have $988,000 on hand. How come come they got so much money? That's what I want to know. How come they got so much money in that fund balance? But anyways, that comes to you from, I guess, the A tax. But they've been, according to what Draper Carwile was telling us last night in the meeting, that they have done very well with their figures, costs and labor. Everything had done very well. So they have this money on hand. But the thing that I think is interesting is they have the money on hand to do almost the whole project right now. And so what they were asking for was for City Council to approve an amendment that would allow them to go ahead and use the money for this and then be paid back by the capital sales tax. And one of the premises is that they... who knows how much more expensive things will be futuristically. Okay, then how do we know that prices are going to go up would be my first question. My second question is, then for all those projects in the 2016 capital sales tax project, that they were way over budget because of, and the answer is always the same thing: inflation. Why did we wait till their number came up? Why did we wait until their number came up? And does it seem a little odd that we had to put these things in this order and everything if we're going to go ahead and fund them anyways? And so those are some of the questions that I have, and I don't actually know the answer. I do know that, and if you have the money on hand, why should we have to pay it in a capital sales tax project? That's another question that I have. Needless to say, that is the capital sales tax was voted on. It was approved. This visitor center, informational center is going to be done this way. And I would question, well, then are other areas, other places, can this be done? For example, I don't know the answer to this, but have they already started on the facility, the G. Frank Russell, the technology center that they're moving out to Tech? I don't know the answer to that. But if you remember, they did have the money to be able to do it. So are they going to go ahead and do it? And are we going to use the capital sales tax project monies that come in as a loan to repay a loan? Is this what we're doing now, rather than waiting till the money? Because always before it's been, well, that's project number 16. Well, that's project number 20. But it appears that there is a way that they can use this money as a loan. If they have the money, they can use the money and get repaid back from it by the capital sales tax. I would be interested in your feeling about that. 864-229-7984. That's 864-229-7984. Text me or call me. I want to make sure that you know you can call me. I just can't always get your call during the show. But you certainly can call me about that. It is an interesting development, and possibly, this has always been this way. I don't know this on the capital sales tax, but it could have always been used that way. I know that part of the procedure that could have been done, they could actually bond a project and then use the funding for that. In this case, Discover Greenwood has a huge fund balance that will be able to will be able to cover that. In fact, they've already done, I think, the designs. I think they've put it out to bid, or they're in the process of putting it out to bid. So, in the next couple of weeks, the Powell's building, right next to the museum, will see a lot of activity over there. And I, for one, am going to be interested to see how they handle that. But congratulations, because this project is on the board and it is ready to go. And so they're going to start it. What do you think? 864-229-7984. That's 864-229-7984. One of the things that concerns me is, though, we don't know what the future holds. We don't know what the future holds. We don't know whether economies are going to stay strong, whether there is talk, could we have a pullback situation? They were talking about on the news this morning about people that have been unemployed for 6 months or more are still unemployed. While the unemployment rate is relatively low, is this a sign of something else? We don't know what the effect of the tariffs are going to be. Are they going to be a problem or are they not? Are they going to provide a growth factor like President Trump says? Or is it going to cause problems? All of this is up in the air, so we don't know what's going to happen. So that makes the case that maybe we should go out and just be spending our money, because don't know what tomorrow's going to be, Ann. So that is one of the possibilities that you may think about. And a lot of people are. I know car sales. People are buying cars. I know people are looking at big appliances and saying, oh, better buy it. Or is that just an excuse? That would be my question. I've used that on myself. Well, we don't know whether we'll be able to get that 6 months from now, and maybe we should go ahead and get this. So these are some of the things that I think about when I'm trying to justify a purchase or not. But the bottom line is the Powell's building in a couple of weeks should be moving fast forward, and construction should be able to start on that. They will have monies coming in from the capital sales tax that will pay back the money that they use. End of discussion. That is about the big things that they talked about in the meeting last night. So that's one thing. All right, now what did you think about Waltz, the vice presidential pick of Kamala Harris, being here at the Democratic fish fry down there in Columbia? This, of course, has been something that Clyburn started years ago and has become a huge success for the Democratic Party. Excuse me. Excuse me. Anyways, and about him saying that on bullying, his comment, that's been everywhere. But what have you felt about that comment? I really thought it was totally out of line. The comment was, what do you do to a bullier? And of course, with children, you just tell them that's wrong. What do you do with an adult? You bully the SHIT out of them. That's what he was saying. And of course, he was talking about President Trump. I think it doesn't do much to try to pull this country together, does it? And obviously that is not where the Democrats are trying to go. They're trying to make a case that they are they are capable of leading, they are capable of making things happen. I don't really see it, but and particularly in super red South Carolina, it is interesting that they took that approach. So, another topic that another topic that I wanted to tell you is today is the day when Governor McMaster has to make up his mind and sign the budget. Now, there's a lot of discussion. He has put out that some of the things that people have questioned, he is not going to veto. But it will be interesting to see whether the pushback has finally made it to the point where he will veto it. But this is. Will he go ahead and give the raises or just sign the bill as it is because there are no earmarks in it? That used to be the parlance of the governor, is to sign, of course, and then veto the earmarks. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see about that. Another topic that is out there, I did not realize there was a group in South Carolina that works with an abortion group. They're called, what are they called? I'll have to look that up right now. Yes, this one right here. This nonprofit is quietly funding women seeking abortions, and they don't plan to back down. This is something that I find most interesting at a time where, of course, there is a lot of pushback to have absolutely no abortions in South Carolina. This is a group, and I want to get their name right, the Palmetto State Abortion Fund. Have you heard about this group? I thought it was interesting and important enough to at least mention this group that is out there. They are saying they will not back down. Wayne Borders is I guess he's the CEO of this group. This is a nonprofit. They get telephone calls from women needing abortions. Borders is his name is Wayne Borders, is one of nearly 70 volunteers who runs the Palmetto. Let me get it because they made a correction. That's why I'm having to look at this twice. I don't want to get it wrong. Palmetto State Abortion Fund. He's one of the 70 volunteers that is out there helping women get abortions. And so this is like, it's almost like I guess, what could we say? Like the railroad that used to get slaves to be able to move north and get to freedom. But I may be off on that, but I think it has some relationship to. It's a nonprofit quietly helping women in South Carolina and Southeast access abortions. The group has no office and operates remotely through phones and an app. Since its inception in 2021, the fund has helped more than 2,000 women receive the procedure, working with over 20 clinics and providing funding that ranges from hundreds to thousands of dollars. What began as a grassroots idea has evolved into a full-fledged operation with growing national support. The abortion landscape has shifted drastically since the core board members came together to serve women who couldn't afford care. They are acutely aware of their environment, South Carolina being a deep red state where further restrictions on abortions or outlawing abortions are very possible. In any case, they don't intend to give up. They say, we're not going away, and abortion funds will never go away because abortions never stop. We will continue to navigate and adjust. And that was said by Ashlyn Perot. And Perot and other board members formed the fund after watching Texas crack down on access there, expecting South Carolina to follow, and hearing firsthand from women unable to afford care. They started fundraising. They launched before the South Carolina 6-week abortion ban went into effect in August of 2023. And, of course, we know that law has been upheld. and says abortion costs vary widely, from $300 to $20,000, depending on pregnancy, stage, and travel. The most the fund has ever covered was $4,000, and the procedure that cost upwards to $25,000. Palmetto State, the abortion fund, is 100% volunteer run. The 8 board members, including Borders, Perot, Mark Curious Bird, balance this work with other jobs they partner with but are separate from. Planned Parenthood and other clinics. They also provide free contraceptive and post-abortion care kits. In 2023, oh, that's right. It's 10 o'clock in the city of Greenwood. I'm Ann Eller. You are listening and watching WCRS Radio. In 2023, the group expanded beyond South Carolina to support women in Georgia, Alabama, and Louisiana as resources there dwindled too. Well, how does a woman reach these people? Women reach the group by calling a number on their website, which guides them to text their information, which goes to an app. Most women contact this group directly through clinics, sometimes reach out when a patient can't afford care. Some clinics have debit cards to expedite the process. No proof of income is required, and the person is from and clinic appointment verification. This is something that I had not heard about. I don't know about you, but then again, I'm not in need of an abortion or have any ability to probably have a need of such a thing. But I did find this interesting. It says most women travel out of state for abortions, usually to North Carolina or Virginia. The board members said some prefer Virginia despite the distance, since North Carolina requires counseling and a 72-hour wait. North Carolina bans most abortions after 12 weeks. Virginia is 26 weeks. I think that's a little long, folks. 26 weeks? Come on. In 2024, they funded 1,022 abortions across 7 states, spending $312,859. That's up from 390 procedures in 2023 and 200 in 2021. Donations come from across the U.S., especially Chicago, California, New York, and Atlanta. So this is the group hosts online and in-person fundraisers and receives checks via mail. Sometimes people send their investment funds or even matching employee funds. So this is something that is flying underneath the radar. It appears to me that they are capable of connecting a person with a place to get an abortion where abortions are still legal, such as North Carolina, although, like they said, they have a 72-hour waiting period, and also in Virginia, they will do abortions up to 26 weeks. They say through the state does fund entities, the legislation. Healthcare advocates have warned state lawmakers that further bans will worsen the state's already maternal mortality rate and rural healthcare crisis. We do have a healthcare crisis in rural areas that have no access to hospitals, or even healthcare centers. That is a big problem in our state, and it's because we're such a rural state. The state does fund entities called crisis pregnancy centers. Controversial groups criticized for lacking medical credentials. They received $5.4 million from the state in 2024. Planned Parenthood and abortion providers get no state money. Though donations fluctuate, this group, Palmetto state abortion fund says they are not fearful of running out of money. The potential for stricter laws or draconian-style legislation, this is from their perspective, still is always on their minds. Volunteers and more board members don't plan to hide or shy away. They're not the quiet type. If we were quiet, then people who need us won't be able to find us. You can't have a movement no one knows anything about. Well, this was my point. I didn't know anything about this group, and I actually consider myself pretty informed. But then again, I am not in the age where I would be having to be concerned about getting pregnant, unless it was divine intervention, which I guess could always happen. Anyways, I'm Ann Eller here with you this morning. What do you think about that? Did you know that there was this group out there? I had no idea, and yet they are out there and they are doing work. So, we will. I just wondered what y'all thought about that this morning. See, it seems like they have no trouble putting a price tag on human life. Well, that is true. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just bringing this to your attention because I didn't know this group was out there. But it's like, I kind of liken it to the Underground Railroad when we were taking slaves from the South and moving them north to Chicago and everything so they could have their freedom. So the question is, what will happen when this state becomes an absolute no abortion state at all? There were two bills that were out there, some in South Carolina. Let's see. In Texas, the heartbeat bill prohibits aiding and abetting in funds or information of any kind for women seeking abortions. In Texas, the Heartbeat Act prohibits aiding and abetting in funds or information of any kind for women seeking abortions. Now, I don't know, folks, but I think that's a little draconian. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton filed a lawsuit against a New York doctor in December who allegedly prescribed abortion drugs to a Texas resident. Some in South Carolina would like to see that atmosphere here. Just this past session, a bill sponsored by South Carolina Senator Richard Cash from Anderson mirrored the Texas style prohibiting of any aiding of abortions, including providing information by phone or internet, housing, transportation, and any funds. Cash's bill did not move out of subcommittee. So it's stalled in subcommittee. Now, could it be taken up this next year? Yes, because it's still in the current session. South Carolina just completed session. Lawmakers did attempt to move a bill sponsored by Representative John McCravey that would ban all abortions in the state with no exceptions for rape and incest. Healthcare advocates have warned state lawmakers that further bans will worsen the state's already high maternal mortality rate and rural health care crisis. The legislation for John McCravey's bill was heard at the subcommittee level but never moved to a vote. That's where I was talking about. The state does fund entities called crisis pregnancy centers, controversial groups criticized for lacking medical credentials. They received $5.4 million from the state in 2024. I do not know about other crisis pregnancy centers. I do know right here in Greenwood, the pregnancy center right here, the Women's Health Center, does have retired doctors doing ultrasounds and things such as that. So, I think that could be a little bit over the edge as far as a statement. But, again, I don't know. I just thought from an informational standpoint, this was a tough topic. It's a tough topic. We don't want to see any life stamped out. But the one thing that does happen is when places are not available, people make decisions to go and get the care that they feel they need. It also comes to the point of the more laws that we put on the books, the more confined and stopped that we are in living free. So I don't know what the right answer is on this. I think there is definitely a time that this is, I think, 26 weeks. That's horrific. That's horrific in Virginia. It's 12 weeks in North Carolina. It's 6 weeks right now here in South Carolina. And of course, they are going to try to go to. But to say that no information should be able to be put out there for people to make a decision, I find that a little over the top, folks. How about you? I think informed people always make better decisions than non-informed people. So I take issue with the fact of saying that you cannot have any information about this. Multiple members of the GOP caucus publicly and privately expressed, this is from this article, and this is from the Post and Courier. Multiple members of the GOP caucus publicly and privately expressed concern with the bill's extremity and this is about the John McCravy's bill right here that would ban all abortions in the state with no exceptions for rape and incest. In a Winthrop poll conducted in May of 2023, 63% of South Carolinians did not support a ban on most abortions. Did not support a ban on most abortions after 6 weeks of pregnancy. And then I also think that Richard Cash's bill, which mirrors the Texas-style bill, this is the one I really take issue with, prohibiting of any aiding of abortions, including providing information by phone or internet, housing, transportation, or any funds. Should people not have access to information to try to help them make the right decision? I know the pregnancy centers, one of the things that does make a difference is being able to have an ultrasound and see what that baby is in your belly. And it has changed a lot of minds about what people wanted to do. We do have a lot of access for help. And then a lot of people on the flip side wonder, what about after the baby is born? And there is access help for that. But to say that we should not have information at all on what is an abortion about, what it means psychologically, all these type of things, I think is a little draconian. So that's just my personal opinion right here on WCRS. I think this is going to be a big issue going forth in the next election coming up for House of Representatives and also for the governor's race coming up. So be an interesting one to watch. But I wanted you to know that there is an organization out there flying underneath the radar, the Palmetto State Abortion Fund. And while it does not do abortions here, it helps women get abortions set up in other states, is what it appears to me, and to get them information. All right, that was one topic that I wanted to talk about this morning, that I wanted to take on, shall we say. I have another story I'd also like to take on. But I don't know whether I should try to take it on today because it's going to be rather involved. And since the governor is getting ready to sign the bill on our budget, maybe he already has. I haven't seen anything pop up on my screen yet. But this idea, and it was an opinion piece. And I guess I should save it till tomorrow, because unless you pick up the phone and call your legislators about this $18,000 raise, one of the things that is most interesting about this article that I found, it's actually an opinion piece that had a lot of research done on it, showing what the benefit to those particularly who have been in the Senate and the House for their pension fund. Now, I don't have any problem with anybody having a pension, but we are taking something that is supposed to be for expense, considering it income, and then I guess they expense it out on their taxes, but they didn't actually get a raise. It's in district expense. So I know I'm hitting this point, but I just find it outrageous. One of the things that was pointed out in this article that we'll go over tomorrow is the fact that 6 people made that decision when the House had not taken it up and wanted to do a study group about it. The other thing is they added it as an amendment to the budget. And this is something that I think is just outrageous, that 6 people said, yeah, go ahead and put it in there. Also, we will have no right to know if somebody signs and does not accept the money. There is no transparency as far as that goes. The guy that we listened to yesterday, Teeple, said that he would donate his money, but he's still taking the money, but he's donating all the funds to St. Jude's and to a camp here for children with cancer. Very admirable, very admirable. But this is still money that's coming from the taxpayers. There's no accountability. Nobody has to say what they spend the money for. They do have to claim it as income. It does count towards their pension fund, so that when they retire, they get bigger pension fund because of this money. It really is a lovely loop. And yet, it's not for after the next group comes in, like after the election next year. It actually starts this year. So again, it's a non-voted on perk for our Senate and our House. Now, I don't really have a problem with it, but I have a problem with the fact that they signed up for the job knowing how much the money was, and they have now voted themselves a raise based, I think, basically because, we have an extra $1 billion in the budget. And so they decided to spend this money. I'm sorry, folks. I don't know why this cranks my jaws as much as it does, but it does. So I just wanted to make a point, but I don't have time to really get into it. But it's a great article, and I will have it for you tomorrow, and we will talk a little bit about it. But those are the essential points. I think it'll be very interesting to see what the governor does. I don't know whether people have been discussing it as much as I have. But anyways, these are some of the things that really can get to you if you really think about it in our government. All right, in other news, we have tomorrow we'll do, because I didn't get to it today, we will get to the police blotter. Last weekend, from Friday, May 30th through Monday, June 1st, officers answered 366 calls for service. That is basically 100 more calls than what we had been seeing. And again, a lot of it has to do with us going into summer. Spring and summer just seems like we start having more of this activity out there. This afternoon on Meet Me At, so we'll go over that. It's quite an interesting list. So what else do I want to talk about here this morning? I'm going to come back tomorrow. We're going to talk about that article about the advantages of having this raise for our senators and House of Representatives. We'll talk more about that. It's a very interesting, very in-depth article that was done by the Post and Courier down there in Charleston. All right. I wanted to, I had another comment here. Somebody had asked another comment, and then we're going to move on.org. I know this is from one of our texters this morning talking about the abortion issue. I know there are situations medically they call for an abortion. I just don't think abortion should be used as a form of birth control. You can go to any health department and get condoms for free. Actually, you can get birth control for women. You can get the pill. I'll go off script here a little bit. I happen to know of a gal who wanted to get an IUD, and the health department gave her hell about wanting one. Now, you could say, well, they were just being cautious, Anne. But from her perspective, she found it very intrusive when they said, well, are you married? Do you have any children? They asked her a bunch of questions that were really rather personal, and just instead of just saying, well, you do realize an IUD has to be removed, all these things that go with an IUD. But they asked her why was she married? Was she living with somebody? How did he feel about it? I mean, all these questions were asked by the health department. I was appalled that they were asking this many questions. I would have no problem in them saying, well, you want an IUD rather than the pill, and maybe discussing your options. But they went in depth before they would even talk to her, in the office about the different issues. So I thought that was interesting. Healthcare, decisions, being able to have been given information to make a logical decision. Browbeating somebody into, why do you want an IUD? I'm not sure that really should be their position. So I don't really understand it. And that is only a story that I heard from an individual. I'm not saying that that's what they do every time, but maybe you have a story about this type of thing. 864-229-7984. Again, you can call and leave a message. I can call you back, or you can text me at 864-229-7984. If you have something that you'd like me to investigate, if you have something you'd like to explain more, you can certainly send me an email at wcrsinfo@gmail.com. That's wcrsinfo@gmail.com. Penny is looking at me saying, Anne, it's time for you to be off the air. I don't know what it is. Gracie used to do the same thing. She'd say, that's enough. And the little voice is saying, Mom, please, I've been sitting here so good. Oh, Penny. Oh, she is just crying a little bit. Okay, let's talk about a few things coming up. The games out there at the Civic Center. The junior game the baseball. Junior game is canceled today. Other team did not have enough seniors to play. Wednesday at 7 p.m. There is seniors play on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Juniors play Thursday at 6 p.m. So that is a good thing. I tell you what, going out and watching an old-time baseball game out there at the American Legion is just something I think everybody, should experience. So I hope you will take the kids out there. I had the thing up here. What did it say? Adults are $7. I didn't print it off. students down to 5 or 6 are $3, and kids under 5 are no charge at all. They have hot dogs. They have everything out there for a real football experience. And I hope you'll get out there and start following that. We are going to start talking about the game so that you'll know about it. Coming up on this afternoon on Meet Me at the Diner, we're going to be talking about... Yes, this dog is trying to tell me, Penny, you're done, you're out of here. Meet Me at the Diner, we'll be talking with Julie Weidman about Kids Fest. Yes, I'm almost done. And we'll also be talking with Trency about Beats and Blooms, a new activity for Festival of Flowers. They've got so much going on. I know you're going to want to tune in to find out about that. Wednesday afternoon on Meet Me at the Diner, who will we have? Oh, the Swinging Medallions will be with us. Sean McElrath and Richard Loper telling stories and having a great time. So that's something you don't want to miss. And we're going to be unveiling a brand new song by the Swinging Medallions. So anyways, for all of you that comment and say comments, thank you for keeping us informed. Good job, and things like that. I sure appreciate you very much, making me spur on to do my job. Oh, okay. That's somebody was making a comment about the PALS building, I guess. Diane said, building is too small to be useful for the long run. Well, I have no idea how they're going to do it. But we've talked about a lot of issues here this morning. I hope you found the show interesting, and let me know. 864-229-7984. We have also been on Facebook Live this morning. You can go back and watch any of those. You can put them in the background and listen to them. That's going to do it for me. I got to get out of here because Penny has said I'm done. So y'all have a great day. Tune in at 5 o'clock this afternoon. I'll be back. Hope you will join us. That's going to do it for us. Let's see. There we go. Okay, Penny.